Everybody to NoCoders Office Hours, episode 310. I am your host, Tanya. I'm here with our member, Jordan. We're going to get started in just a moment. If this is your first time tuning into Office Hours, we do them 6 times per week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, and then we have a second session on Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. We invite our members of the developer membership at NoCoders to come on our Zoom sessions. They can ask us any bubble questions they want. They are also welcome to ask us any other questions they want, and we do our best to answer those questions. We can't promise to have all of the answers because no one has all of the answers, but we do get it right most of the time, and we're dedicated to it. You won't suffer alone, so do come join us. Jordan, hello, welcome. Do you have questions this evening?
Yeah, I have more of a high-level question than like a specific problem.
Sure.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out like how to set up my app and how things will work together. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, so here's the app. What it is, it's like a school security software. So like people would sign in when they enter campus and things like that. So when you sign in, you can do what's your reason for being there. You can even do like mail entry if you don't have your ID. And so I guess my question is, once they fill this out, which you will get to see my face here in a second here. They'll fill this out, fill out all the information, and then they'll click submit and take picture. I guess my question is, what do you think is the best way to send all this information? Because from here, what I have it doing is it goes to, in my mind, I was thinking like I have this like printable badge, and then I have a printable badge page, and then from here, this will print off on the thermal printer. It'll be on like a sticker, and then you like put it on your shirt, and so people know that you've been approved to be on campus. Do you think the best way is to like you fill out this information and then submit and take your picture, so it sends us to create a PDF and save the PDF here, and that prints off? Or I don't know. I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, it's a very vague question, but I'm trying to figure out what's the best way for all this to work together.
So are you storing the visit in your database?
Yes. So I've got my data type. I'm calling it adult entry. So like adults coming on campus. And so I have all these different fields here. So your driver's license number, your state, date of birth, name, ID type. I did save this badge. I was thinking that would be like the PDF file you could save. So if you come on campus the next day, it's already saved. You don't have to rescan it because this is connecting to an API. That was what you and Cameron helped me out with the other day.
Cameron gets credit.
Yeah, he really is.
So I think I see something. So the user is not the adult.
Correct.
Okay.
Like the user would be like front office, maybe the principal at the school. I've even got, here's my roles. So like school IT department, school admin, school user, and then like maybe they have a terminal computer that's just set up and running all the time. And
gotcha.
These would be like your users, in my opinion.
Gotcha. I think there's something missing from your data types. I think you need to store, and so right now you're storing everything on this adult entry. And instead, I think you need to store something called adult, and you would take the things that don't change from session to session, like their name and other things, and store it in adult. And then the entry would be the things that change from each time they enter, like from day to day. And then that way you can track like how many times a particular adult has come into the school.
Oh, okay.
Because you can just go back and look at all of their entries.
Gotcha. And so this would be connected to adult. And have this in here like that is what you're saying. And then take out all the stuff that doesn't change. Okay.
Yep. And then I'm not sure if you need to or not. Like sometimes we do cross-referencing where like the entry itself would also would go in a list of entries on the adult data type. The limitation there is that Bubble doesn't allow you to have references in a list greater than 10,000 items in the list. So I don't know if it's probably unlikely that an adult that's not like a teacher or something would, or the principal would actually like be on campus more than 10,000 times. But yeah, but it's something to keep in mind. But you don't need to do it that way, I don't think, because I don't. But I'm not entirely sure all of the different like searches you're going to do for any kind of reporting or information you want to get back out of your database in the future. So
okay, yeah, that helps me out, because I was in my mind, I didn't say it as eloquently as you did, but like my mind, this whole destination, like that's going to change, you know, several times. Every time you come through, it could be a different reason where you're going, and then your reason for visiting, purpose of visit, that could be different also. So I was in my mind, how do I solve this problem? And you hit me on the head without me even describing it correctly. So
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that points me in the right direction. So
yeah, get started with that and see where it takes you. And if you run into any questions about that or other things that you might want to abstract out of that one data type. I think adult and entry works though. Then in terms of your original question, which was like, well, how do I send this information into this thing? Well, you would create a new adult if the adult doesn't already exist, and then also a new entry every time that they're checking in. There would be a new entry, and then you would send the new entries information into that badge, like printable badge page.
okay. You do think that's the right step, is to have a separate page for the printable badge, because that would be like saved as a PDF, and then you would just print that PDF off. You think that's kind of the right steps or right way to go about it?
Is there a reason that you're saving it as a PDF, and where is it being saved?
I don't have that workflow set up yet, but I did want to have it saved under this badge.
As a file?
Yeah. Why is it a PDF? It's a great question. I don't really have a good answer for it. It just seemed, from what little I know, it seemed like that was the easiest to set up. So.
Yep. So I think that I think if you protect it such that there's no, like if you need to do the PDF files so that you just kind of have a snapshot of the badge when it was created, for like just to keep track of that and make sure that nobody can ever change it. There's a reason for that. Otherwise, I think keeping the entry separate from the adult does the same thing. Like what you're trying to save with the badge is just the entry information per visit of an adult.
That makes sense.
So I think by creating the new entry in the database, you kind of like, you're saving the data that you need to save. Yeah. And then you can create that file and save it under the entry, and that would work. But that might be redundant. I don't know. It's up to you. There's a little bit of a cost of storage of files on for Bubble, right? So, but you have plenty of room. But you're also storing pictures, right? Because you take the picture.
That's correct.
Yeah. So
yes, I kind of kick the tires about Xano a little bit to see if that could work as back end. If right now it's just me, but if this does by chance take off, I think you're right. Like I kind of hit the upper limit on what Bubble could do. some point. So maybe look at Xano for help on the back end stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, Xano is great when you're like having, I don't see your app in particular needing to do a lot of bulk data manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And Bubble doesn't have any problem storing lots of entries in the database. So they were at one point a couple months ago, I say that Bubble had a stroke when they decided to change their pricing structure, and it just was not a good day. But they've gone back on that. They're reconsidering how they're going to do pricing, or we have yet to see what that's going to look like. Ultimately, they need to make more money. I'm hoping that it doesn't come down to limiting our API calls, but we'll see. But yeah, you can create as many entries or as many records in your database as you want to. And I've seen Bubble work well with over 1 million records, right? So like tons of records.
Yeah, I'm not going to be anywhere close to that. So
it's not really a problem. Like the number of records isn't really a problem for Bubble to handle. What becomes problematic for Bubble to handle is when you need to add tons of records, or when you need to change tons of records. So like if you need to change 1,000 records, Bubble can do it. It's just slow. Mm-hmm. And I don't see a reason once the entry is created, you don't want to change it, right? And you can only create entries as fast as people can get through checking in at a school, right? Which is human speed, not machine speed. So in machine, like humans can't move the way that machines can move in terms of like trying to like process information. So I really don't see, I don't see a need from your database side for Xano yet. It might be something interesting to do if having to do with the APIs, if there's like something going on with the API information and the processing that you need to do. Sometimes Bubble's not great at taking API information and parsing it into its own database, whereas Xano could do it no problem. So, but yeah, happy to consult on when it might be necessary to move over to Xano to keep track of things.
I appreciate that. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
Those are my questions. So just the big picture stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome. Well, quick session for this evening for office hours. Sometimes that happens. It just means we have more room if you're watching. So please go sign up at pronocoders.com and join us for office hours. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being here.